My name is John Miyazaki, and I live in Longmont. I was born between Lafayette and Longmont, and then I moved to Longmont in 1962.
Okay.
I'm Jim Kanemoto. Of course, I lived in, I was born in Greeley, and when 2 years old, came to Longmont and lived here ever since.
Okay.
I'm George Maeda. I was born in Canfield, Colorado, and moved to Longmont in '33 and been in Longmont ever since.
Okay.
I'm Jack Miyazaki, and I was born in Lafayette, and I lived there all my life, still live in Lafayette.
Okay.
My name is Ed Kanemoto, and I'm a native of Longmont, and I am the president of the Longmont Buddhist Temple, and I'm here to learn about the history of our church.
Let's go back.
When it said Lafayette, Canfield, or Longmont, it's all one community. They're part of this church.
So it's, again, Longmont,
Lafayette.
Longmont and Lafayette, yes.
and then Canfield.
Canfield is
Canfield is no longer
not
a town.
town
Location.
anymore.
George broke the mold.
Yeah. When we moved it disappeared.
You see,
So you want to start the history? Jack, why don't you start off the history? And
me.
yeah.
Well, originally there were more Japanese people of Buddhist religion living in the Lafayette area, and so as a result, the first meeting buildings were built in about 3 miles northwest of Lafayette, and it was named Showa Hall, named after the Showa era. I think it was about 4 years after the beginning of the Showa era, and that was our first meeting place, and we held our religious service and meeting there until 1968.
When did it start?
That building was originally built in 1929, and then we had remodeled it and expanded it in the meantime, and then in 1968 we moved over to this building right here.
Was this building like it is now?
No, it was originally a Burlington grade school, but we have to be grateful to the Kanemoto family. A member of our church had donated this building and the ground, and we were able to completely remodel the inside and outside, and dedications were held in December of 1968.
What are some of your earliest memories of some of the early ministers that were out here?
Well,
Before you get to that, why don't we go into the
Small pictures?
yes, and after the members sold the old building, they had money to remodel or refurbish this place, and at that time, I don't know if you can see this. This is the typical red brick schoolhouse that.
On the left or the right?
All of these are
All of those are
Different
before.
stages.
before its part, and
Hold them still. Keep talking.
and after we remodeled, then of course it looked
I'm
like.
still getting the pictures.
He's still getting the
Oh.
old pictures.
All right.
Now talk about the Samuel, the one where it shows the inside. Is this the old inside up here?
Yeah, that's the old inside. It just shows the inside, and most of it's outside.
That's here in this building?
Yes, that's this building.
What year was that, about?
1968, is it?
All these are 68, before you remodeled it. One more line, I gotta get the other line down.
The building has been here though since.
Oh yeah, this building was here in early part 1906, I think,
Wow.
when this building was built.
I
You
think
went
it's of
grade school
interest
here.
that Jim went to grade school, didn't you?
Yeah,
Here?
Yeah.
I went to grade
Okay, now
school.
the other picture.
My kids went to grade school, and this is the
Oh, this is today.
way it looked after, the way it is now.
Well, what kind of cost was involved in it?
Yeah, I don't know. We don't have no.
I don't think we have any figure.
A
No,
lot
it's
of,
not like a dollar figure, were the materials donated? Or?
yeah, no, a lot of it, the members, they helped.
Okay, I got it.
All right. And this is the dedication. It shows December 15, 1968. That's the dedication program.
Who was the Reverend in 68?
Reverend, this is Reverend Tamai and Reverend Sonoda.
Is it Reverend Sonoda?
Yes.
If you open it, the Reverend.
And,
pictures
yeah.
are there.
And this shows, Reverend,
Kazumata
it
was
is,
here too.
yeah, Kazumata too. This is
The top?
Bishop Tsuji from San Francisco. Then, of course, Reverend Tamai, Reverend Sonoda, Reverend Kazumata, and Mrs. Sonoda. And probably Jack mentioned about the history, the beginning or the starting of the Longmont Temple. Who was that? No. Where by these Issei parents. And will you identify, Jack? Just to point out, identify.
Okay.
So we,
This was Mr. Kikutaro Maeda, and this is Mr. Kunihei Miyazaki, and this is Mr. Daijiro Furue, and this was Mr. Masuda, and this was Mr. Fukai, and this was Mr. Goroku Kanemoto, and this was Mr. Kawano, and this was Mr. Shimoda.
Excellent.
and that was in 1925 when the services were established here at the homes before the temples were built.
Okay.
Then this was, when was this taken?
That's 1955, isn't it?
This was
55 when you
members, maybe
when
you
had
can
the
get,
dedication
members,
of the altar.
members was at the old temple
Ah,
in that was all the members at that time.
In 1955, they had brought in a new altar for that temple, and that's the same altar we have here today. And that was, they had a little,
dedication point?
Yeah, that was a
They also
dedication.
remodeled the
yeah,
church,
we
remodeled the
expanded
church.
it.
All right.
So you guys made the 20, that's the 50th anniversary? Whoop,
Yeah, this is on the 50th
so you
anniversary.
guys read a whole chapter there, huh?
We want a volume this time.
Will you tell how the Sunday school was started?
Oh, yes, we were told,
Yeah.
did Vicki mention it to you today? You guys still have a Sunday school?
Yes.
Yes.
And how long has it been? It's been kind of one of the,
Well, we started our own here back in 1966. Before that, we were going to Brighton Church. We're taking the kids to the Brighton Church for the Sunday school because Mrs. Tsunoda was teaching over there. Then we started our own in 1966.
how large was it?
Big pardon?
About how large was it?
Oh, back in 66, well, I imagine there were 20, 30 of them. That's when all our children were still going Sunday school.
Was there any Japanese classes?
Earlier, before that, during the summer, they used to hold Japanese classes. But do you remember when that was?
I don't remember the year, but there used to be, Japanese language school during the summertime. But the Sunday school, I think the ladies are very active in keeping the Sunday school going. And
How is the Sunday school today?
fine, and I think Jane Kanemoto, she's probably through her efforts, the Sunday schools probably is existing. The Sunday schools are, I think, getting smaller and smaller because the little kids are going to college, and when they go to college, then they're not here anymore. And the grandkids, we don't have very many yet, little ones like that. So
I think the thing that impressed me the most about when the Sunday school was started was that in Longmont, we really didn't have a minister. In fact, at this point in time, we still don't have a minister that comes out every week. But it was through the efforts of our parents and the other people in the community. Like, for example, Jack Miyazaki he would conduct our services for us. And the parents would also conduct the classes. And it was kind of interesting for us because it was a learning experience for both. I think the teachers probably learned as much as the students did, but it made it more interesting for, I believe, us as students because it was easier to integrate the practical applications of Buddhism.
So the Sunday school classes were all taught as one?
Well, they were split into, how many classes did we have? About three different levels
classes.
when it originally started with. But I think Jack was one of the driving forces behind.
One of the, I think, when we were growing up, they didn't really have much English literature on the religion itself. And then so as we were growing up, all we learned religion from was our parents and the ministers. But later on, they came out with a lot of English material on this Buddhist religion. And so it helped both us and the kids to learn a little bit more about our religion. Since, like he said, we never had minister here every Sunday because they did.
But did you guys hold a service of some kind every Sunday?
Oh, we used to when we had Sunday school. We had every Sunday, but ministers would only come maybe once a month.
How often do they come down?
They come
Twice.
every other week.
Every other week.
And then they conduct the service on the alternate weeks with the mothers, and they also are now conducting a Japanese language class on one of those alternate weeks. But it's like Jim said, I think we're kind of, you go through cycles and generations, and I think we're somewhat at that point where, you know, the older children are leaving and the younger ones are coming up, but they're not quite to that Sunday school age.
The churches was when I was probably like 8 or 10 years old, going to the monthly Sunday afternoon service. And the minister only spoke in Japanese, and my Japanese was very, very limited, so I didn't understand hardly anything that he said. And it wasn't until later on in my life that I read a little bit more about the religion and began to understand a little bit more. Also during the summer when I was young, they had Sunday school. It was a language school. And I hated that with a passion because I'd much rather be out playing, you know. But that was life. Our folks made us go.
So, how many ministers do you remember?
Well, Reverend Tamai at that time, and then later on Reverend Sonoda came, and then was it Cosmata, and who was after that? Sugihara. Oh, Reverend Oda, yeah. Sugiyama.
Reverend Oda.
And then Reverend Okamoto. But mostly I remember Reverend Tamai because he was here for so many years.
Okay. Fond memories about your favorite memory about the ministers, the reverends.
The ministers?
Yeah. You've been here the longest. You're busting to tell us. All the dirt, all the good stuff.
Well, I think about the first one was Reverend Tsunoda, because he was the first English-speaking minister that we got, and to me, you know, that just meant that much more as far as understanding the religion. And since then, we've had two more English-speaking ministers, Oda and Okamoto.
What's special about Reverend Okamoto?
My expression?
Yep.
Well, I think he's good for the third generation kids.
So he's the hope for the future.
Yeah.
Reverend Okamoto.
Like us, well, but he really helped.
Back when you were a little boy, you were in this neighborhood. What was the main job? What was the main commerce? How do people make a living out here?
Within our community?
Yes, sir.
Well, we were almost 100% all engaged in agriculture,
What kind of farming?
vegetable farming. And actually, I think one of the reasons why we're here today is one of the members of our church got into the development since they lived right near the edge of the city of Longmont and began developing, and as a result they had donated some ground to the school district, Longmont School District, and it was named the Burlington Elementary School, named after this school right here. And they in turn donated this building. They acquired it through the trade or whatever. And
It was all for people in this church here.
big pardon?
It was all done for people in this
Yeah.
church. Super.
One of the things I want to mention, this George Maeda, his dad was really the pillar or the leader of the community, and so everyone or every family kind of looked up to Mr. Maeda and for leadership, and I think it was through Mr. Maeda that not only Longmont but even the Denver temples was able to exist as it did.
Wow. What do you have to say about that?
Well, my only regret is that I didn't follow in my father's footstep and further in
How so?
teaching Buddhism and
Maybe you
and
have.
supporting the church and community in the church and so forth. I just
Well, you still can.
didn't follow
it.
Maybe you have.
Well, George does a fine job.
Yeah.
well, I don't think enough credit or stress can be put on to the mothers of the families that kept the Sunday school going, especially Jane Kanemoto and Jack Miyazaki. I think without their leadership and help, it couldn't have existed.
So in your earliest memories, what were some of the special things that they did that you can remember?
Well, like I say, I wasn't a real true following of the
But you
Sunday school or the church, but they sure helped my family, my children, taught my children, and helped them and the wife. So I give them all the credit.
Super. I wish we had more women here today.
Me too.
Went down in Lahara, the women did all the speaking.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're better at that.
Yeah. They say they run the temples. Is that true here?
There's more than one tape.
You guys have any questions about to me or to any other temples, or now's the time to ask? Especially it's more of a discussion rather than. I'm not Mike Wallace. This is not 16.
Okay, good. For you to draw an analogy, but with regard to membership base, is it growing? Are they suffering attrition? Because I guess that's one thing that we've seen over the years, and that is that I think back when the church was originally started, it was a strong social base. The members used the church not only for the purpose of religion, but also I think a lot of very long-standing friendships were created there. And we don't see that quite as much anymore, or in the more recent years. I think it's part of it's just the integration into the community. We at the Longmont Buddhist Temple have looked at trying to expand our membership beyond, quite frankly, a Japanese-American base, and look at others. I think Denver appears to have been more successful in creating that diversity within its membership.
So the third generation has totally forgot them.
And I think we've seen that happen here in Longmont as well. I don't think there was ever any real attrition in the Nisei membership, but it's a matter of, I guess, my generation, as you leave the community or you leave the church, probably just as a part of the cycle of life, and then pulling them back in. Like when I have children, I guess I would see that I'd have more of a need to have religion in my life. That's a terrible way to look at it, but I think a lot of us tend to look at it that way.
Yeah.
As long as it took you today, you better try to set up for 6 o'clock.
Yeah, really. Last words.
Well, I was wondering if intermarrying is making a difference in church membership. It seems like they marry outside of their race or nationality, and then they just kind of drop out because of too many conflicts at home, I guess. For example, if it's a daughter marrying a Caucasian man, there's a pull. He wants to go to his church, she wants to go to her church, and so as a result, they maybe don't go to any church.
We can address that to Reverend Okamoto, and he can answer it in some of his services.
Okay.
It's another great way of the TV tape. Last words.
Yeah, well, I guess the typical, it's a thing that maybe our parents had, and now we're getting aged, and we worry about the next generation whether the religion is going to continue, but up to now it has continued. Maybe we don't have to worry so much, but I cannot help but think that unless we get away from being an ethnic body church, that we're restricting ourselves, and unless the ministers and not only the ministers, a lot of members, they don't want to have outsiders come in. But as each generation come, I think that's changing, and I'm sure when you get the third generation, it'll be maybe a half and half mixture by then. I think. I hope so.
Last word.
Well, I have the same worry or solution John mentioned about is intermarriage, and I think the parents are supposed to set the example. If they don't attend the church, naturally their children won't attend regularly. But I just hope and pray find some way to have my children come back to church more regularly.
There seems to be some concern about maybe Buddhism dying out in this country if it continues on the current pace, but I think what we need is more ministers that can draw people in. I don't know. They don't seem to be doing the job. I don't know. It's just like they keep dropping out.
Okay, you say they're not doing the job. What can be done so that they can do a better job? They can draw more in. More Japanese, less Japanese, or?
Well, I think it could be even good Caucasian ministers in Buddhism. I think they'll be able to draw them in.
Okay. And finally, the president.
I think that with regard to what Jack said, it is something that it's almost a marketing plan that the Buddhist churches have to look at with regard to needs. I mean, if we're meeting the needs of our members, they'll come. If we're not assessing those needs correctly and addressing them, and they can resolve those needs somewhere else, there's no need to be here at the church. So it's a difficult issue, and one that needs to be addressed and be faced to really save the church as we know it now, I believe. The other point I guess I would like to bring out is, as we've gone through this history project, we need to be very grateful of all the efforts of not only the Nisei generation, but also the Sanseis that made some surprising sacrifices so that we could enjoy this church as we see it now.
Any invitations? Give us a chance to invite other people.
Well, our doors are open to all members, be it members of our local community who are curious about Buddhism, or, like you mentioned earlier, members of other temples within. And if we can share and pool resources and make it easier for us all to operate, I think it's good for everybody.
Okay, so if someone sees this tape in Japan, they come to America, or so, how would they find your temple?
How would they find it? What do you mean, how would they find it?
Address, I don't know.
Oh,
Are they welcome?
well, we're not in the yellow pages yet.
Well,
You know, I guess that brings up an issue, too, with regard to being a Buddhist and in a predominantly Christian society. Do you automatically feel that you are a second-class type of a citizen? Or Buddhism itself has certain image problems in that there are many people that have a limited knowledge of Buddhism that feel that that's what we do. You know, we sit around and we meditate in tradition of the Zen Buddhism or the other sects of Buddhism, and have really no idea what a Buddhist service is. And I think that would probably be good to have that out. We have not made any real effort with regard to, we don't have a post office box, we don't have a mailbox, we don't have a phone number.
We don't have a name on the church.
Yeah. We're the best kept secret in the area.
that's why I say, so the videotape, you can use the Pecos or Pike Road and...
Pike Road and Highway 287 on the south edge of Longmont, Colorado. Our services, we have a Saturday devotional service the first Saturday of every month at 8 o'clock. And Sunday school is at 10 o'clock each Sunday, except for the summertime when we take a break.
Play ball.
We all have our priorities.
Yeah, okay.
Okay?
Excellent. Anything else from anybody? Okay, if not, thank you guys ever so much.
Thank you.
What's sitting over here on this side?
Look at this. Can't screw around.
The love and attention of his own mother.
Next we have the chanting of Jusei Ye. It's page 57 in the blue book.
Tathagata Amitabha to enter this dojo, and in joyful gratitude we scatter flowers. Dojo Shaka Nyorai Nyo Dojo Sangeraku. We call upon Tathagata Shakyamuni to enter this dojo, and in joyful gratitude we scatter flowers. Dojo Jipo Nyorai Nyo Dojo Sangeraku. We call upon the Tathagatas of the 10 quarters to enter this dojo, and in joyful gratitude we scatter flowers. Namo Amida Butsu. Nagon Josegan Yishima Jada Shingan Rumanzo Sefu Joshoga Aomuryaka Ruidai Seshu Rusai Shominge Sefu Joshoga Ashi Jobutsudo Myosho Chojipo Kugyo Mishomon Sefu Joshoga Ryokujin Shonen Joeshu Bongyo Shigama Jodo Ishoten Ninshi Jinriki and Daiko Fushoma Saido Shoujo Sankumyo Kosai Shuyakunan Kaiichi Engen Meshi Komoan Heisoku Shoakudo Sudatsu Zen Shumon Kosojo Manzok Iyoro Jippo Nichigatsu Shujugi Tenko Wonbugyen Ishukai Hozo Koseku Dokuho Jowo Daishuchu Seppo Shishiku Kuyo Isai Butsu Yozoku Shutokuhon Kanne Shitsujoman Toku Isangayo Nyobutsu Mugechi Tsudatsu Mifusho Gangaku Eri Toshi Saisho Son Shiganya Koka Daisen no Kando Koku Shoten
I'd like to call on the Dharma School students for Gatha, Long Ago in India, which is on page B67.
Long ago in India, a little babe was born, and all around were pretty folks to greet the glorious morn. Far away in India, this babe began to grow, and all around were happy sights, so pain he did not know. Long ago in India, he studied hard from all. He learned so well, he soon became the greatest prince of all. Far away in India, the prince went out to see the city and its inhabitants, and felt deep sympathy. Long ago in India, the prince decided to go and seek the way to save us all from pain and birth and death. Far away in India, the prince had found the truth, and now he's Buddha, wise and kind, who shows the way to peace.
Thank you. That was very good. Next we'll have Kanbutsu, which is the ceremonial pouring of the sweet tea. Next we have Gasa, HanaMatsuri, Koshin Kyoku. And we're going to do this a little bit different in that we'd like to call on the Dharma school students to do the first verse, and then on the rest of the congregation begin at the second verse. It's on number 125. Next we have a Dharma talk by Keith Kanemoto.
Today is HanaMatsuri, and for us it's an important day because it's the birthday of Gautama Buddha. Because he was awakened, one who attained perfect enlightenment, it is really a day to celebrate. I think my birthday is important, but I guess this day is more important. Because Gautama Buddha was awakened during his lifetime to Amida Buddha's perfect wisdom and compassion, he left us the teachings whereby we are able to lead a happier life, understanding and better accepting everyday problems. We don't know how to live the life of a monk, but we are able to live an ordinary life and yet able to receive the gift of Namu Amida into our lives. Namu Amida embodies Amida's perfect wisdom and perfect compassion, so we are able to awaken the natural laws of nature. The gift of Dharma exceeds all gifts. How fortunate we are to be able to study and listen to the teachings. In gratitude, we say thank you. Namu Amida Butsu.
Thank you, Keith. Next we'd like to call upon Reverend Okamoto for the Dharma talk for the children.
Will you please join me in Gasho? Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Namo Amidaps. Namo Amidaps. Namo Amidaps. Happy HanaMatsuri. Hey, Keith said it all. But what Keith didn't have is a brown bag. You know what I have in my bag today, huh? Let me show you here. It's a photograph of my parents. My mom and my dad. My dad died almost 7 years ago now. My mom is still healthy and living in Los Angeles. My mother's name is Toshiko. My father's name, his name was Masao. I used to play a game with my daughter Lisa. It's called Disney Trivia. I used to always lose. But I remember some questions. One question was, what is Pinocchio's father's name? Geppetto. Another question was, what is Dumbo's mother's name? Mrs. Jumbo. Today, as we celebrate HanaMatsuri, what was Siddhartha Gautama's father's name? You know? King Suddhodana. Very good, yeah. What was his mother's name?
Queen Maya.
Queen Maya. All right, very good. You know, Queen Maya. You didn't know that one, huh? Before the Buddha, before Siddhartha was born, his mother, Queen Maya, was on her way to her mother's home to have the baby. She stopped in Lumbini Garden. There in the beautiful garden, the baby was born. And this is why we have this beautiful Hanamido to represent Lumbini Garden. Then a very gentle, sweet rain fell and washed the baby. And so this is why we pour the sweet tea over the statue of the baby Buddha. The baby took 7 steps, pointed one finger up and one down and said, "Above heaven, above earth, I alone am the honored one." Now we know a baby can't walk. I have a hard time walking myself. But the 7 steps symbolize that Siddhartha walked the 7 stages of samsara into the realm of nirvana. So as a young baby, Siddhartha took these steps symbolically to go beyond the realm of suffering and ignorance. You know, my son told me a joke. I'd like to tell it to you. I think he made it up. You know the Ninja Turtles, right? The Master Splinter. Huh? You know Master Splinter? What is Master Splinter's Japanese name? Huh? Do you know what it is? Huh? Okay, the answer that Aki told me was Toge Sensei. Toge. Toge is like a splinter, a sliver that you get. That's toge in Japanese. Yeah, I think you have to know a little what a toge is before. Yeah, that's a tough one, though. You know, there's a good riddle, though. Yeah, I went to see the movie Ninja Turtle #2, and what it was all about was this green, gooey, slimy stuff called mutagen. And I thought about that, and the Buddha always told us things always change. Right? Things always change. But in this Ninja Turtle movie, if this mutagen gets on you, you change drastically. Oh, they made a dog, a cute German Shepherd dog, into this big monster, this mutagen. Yeah, this mutagen is really some terrible stuff. But you know, the Buddha told us that you and I were always changing. We don't need mutagen, but we're always changing. And one thing I would like to stress is that I feel very fortunate to have been able to attend Dharma school, to listen to the teachings of the Buddha. Because when I started Dharma school, Buddhism was something that I learned that I didn't have to put in one corner of my brain, and the things I learned in regular school in the other corner. I didn't have to do that with Buddhism. See, Buddhism was very up to date, very modern. And so when I studied evolution in school, regular school, the teachings of the Buddha helped me to understand it. Making friends at school and playing, I always had the golden chain to assist me in how I reacted with my relationships with my friends. So Buddhism is not something you have to put in this part of your brain and things in regular school this part, because Buddhism helps you in your everyday life. So on this HanaMatsuri, let us live the life of a Buddhist. In closing, please join me in Gassho. We thank Amida Buddha for showing us the way of freedom. We'll endeavor to walk in his noble path every day of our lives. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you, Sensei. Next, we'd like to call upon Mike Shibata. Mike is a vice president of Tri-State Buddhist Church, and he's come to make a presentation, and I'd like Mike to explain the war and make the presentation.
Tri-State Buddhist Temple will be hosting or having their 75th anniversary reunion on July 5th and 6th of this year. And in order to get the children involved, an art contest was held, and we received over 30 entries and broke the entries down into 3 categories. The first one was preschool through 3rd grade. Second group was the 4th and 5th graders, and the third group was grades 6th through the 9th grade. And at this time, I'd like to present a small token of appreciation to the winners in each category. The winner in the 6th through 9th grade was Jamie Hodson. The winner in the 4th and 5th grade category was Chad Kusuno. And the winner in the preschool to 3rd grade, and the overall winner was Julie Wood.
Very good. Thank you, Mike. It's quite an honor. We've got all 3 of the division winners here in Longmont. Were the judges from?
All the jerseys were from Denver.
Okay, we're going to like to dismiss the GAPA, or the Dharma School students at this time and call upon Sensei for Dharma talk for the adults.
Excuse me. All the people on this earth have come into this life through many billions of differing causes and conditions. So there are billions of mothers, and each one very different. However, for me, there is only one mother who brought me into this world. The more I realize how precious my life is, the more I recognize that my own mother is the best for me. How irreplaceable, how wonderful my mother is. And so this feeling that my mom is the best is shared by billions of people on this earth. Queen Maya died 7 days after giving birth to Siddhartha. So I'm sure that as Siddhartha was growing up, he really wanted the love and attention of his own mother. Siddhartha was raised by his aunt. And so, for Siddhartha, growing up, it must have been difficult at times, wondering, thinking about his own mother. I really enjoy HanaMatsuri. I enjoy it because spring is here. I see flowers budding and blooming. I hear birds singing. I see the fairways are getting green. That's why I like HanaMatsuri. I mentioned this before, but I'd like to just go over it again, that the Buddhist approach to life, the Buddhist view of life is horizontal. A Christian approach, a Christian view, would be vertical. Now, one approach isn't better than another, they're just different. What do I mean by a horizontal Buddhist approach and a vertical Christian approach? In terms of architecture, a good example is the temple in Denver or temples in Japan. If this is the roof of the temple, you enter here, and you get the horizontal feelings from the roof lines. If this is the roof of a Christian church, usually you enter here. There's a tall steeple or a cross on top, so you get a very vertical feeling in terms of architecture. With music, the chanting is monotone. Ragon, Josegan, very flat. The Christian Gregorian chanting is very beautiful, but it has melody, goes up and down. In terms of concepts, in Christianity, heaven is symbolically up, hell is symbolically down. For us Jodo Shinshu Buddhists, the Pure Land is symbolically in the West. Religious leaders, Jesus died vertically. He died on the cross. The historical Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, he died lying down on his right side, and he was facing the West. So young Christian children, young Buddhist children are influenced by their environment. The architecture, music, concepts, religious leaders. So the view of life, the approach to life is very different. You know, we express this horizontal feeling every day. Before we eat, we put our hands together and say, itadakimasu. Itadakimasu means I put on top of my head. And what this really means is that I am no better than the food I am going to eat. It is because of circumstances that I am allowed to partake of this food, to nourish my body, and to continue to live this life of a human being. So every day we express this horizontal view, this horizontal feeling. I have a quote, I'd like to quote a newspaper. This is from the Denver Post, Friday, March 29th. The headline says, Judge quotes Bible, goes easy on pup dumping. Let me read this. St. Peter, Minnesota. A judge has cited biblical references in fining a man only $1 for leaving 5 puppies to die in a trash bin, saying, quote, God ordained the killing of animals. I'd like to quote this judge again. He said, God ordained the killing of animals. He himself killed animals to provide skins for Adam and Eve. So, very interesting how this judge would use the Bible for his decision. Because here in this country, we have to remember, The justice system is supposed to be blind. Right? It's supposed to be blind. And he goes on, this judge quote, and I'd like to quote him, "Many people today are working hard to expand the rights of animals, yet the same people are not concerned about the millions of unborn babies that are slaughtered each year, many of whom, like these puppies, are tossed into dumpsters after being killed." As a Buddhist, I find that the judge's logic is not valid. For me, for us as Buddhists, we have the golden chain. The golden chain states, "I will be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself." Now, this golden chain is true. This golden chain is true not because a superior being commanded it, but because we are increasingly aware of the unity of all life, and that to harm others is to harm the unity of which we are a part. Buddhist oneness and harmony thus depends upon the experience of ourselves as intimately and directly connected to everything else. And where harming another is seen as a part of a single organism making war on itself. As Buddhists, we can accept differences. We accept differences because we see that differences is the nature of things. And to insist that others think and feel as we do is a seed for conflict and disharmony. From the Buddhist point of view, the only access I have to this single organism, this oneness, is me, myself. So looking inward, as the Buddha taught us, is thus the only way of looking outward. This requires a kind of honest self-reflection, one that we are not used to, one that most often than not makes us fearful or defensive as we approach who we really are. Passing through the defensive wall of the ego is the beauty of Buddhism. And in order to pass through the wall, one must see it first. Beyond the wall of ego-centeredness is oneness. It does little good to believe in oneness. One must pass through the wall and participate in it. And beyond this wall is yet another wall. Endless frustration, endless fascination, endless joy. For these reasons, I feel fortunate that I encountered, or I was allowed to encounter, the Buddha Dharma. So on this HanaMatsuri, let us see the walls of our ego-centeredness and participate in the oneness of life. In closing, please join me in Gasho. Springtime brings the happy birds. Their songs all praise Amida. I join them in Nembutsu. I gasho to Amida. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Welcome to our HanaMatsuri program this evening. We hope you enjoy the variety and talent. To begin our program, we'll have several piano solos. First will be Chad Kasuno. He will play Minuet in G minor and Somewhere Out There. Thank you, Chad. Next solo will be played by Jamie Hogsett. She will be playing Clemente Sonatina. Something like that. Thank you, Jamie. Next, we'll have Ryan Casuno. He will play two arrangements. They are Minuet 1 and Ode to the Joy. Thank you, Ryan. Please give us a moment to set up for our amazing game that you all have been waiting for, Japanese Jeopardy. Good evening. Welcome to Japanese Jeopardy. Tonight we'll have three terrific teams to test their talent, knowledge, strengths at facts of Japanese and Buddhist culture. Let's introduce our three teams. The Masterminds,
I've fallen and I can't get up! I love you, my babushka.
I think you broke my arm.
Did I do that?
next we'll have the Cool Dudes,
You're cool.
and our last team, the Bonsai Blimpos. You guys aren't supposed to have a cooler on the game floor. As you all know, the object of the game is for you to supply the correct answer to a specific the correct question to a specific answer in a category. Each response is worth a specific dollar amount, and the first team to reach $2,100 is today's winner. Are we ready to play?
Hey!
The categories are Japanese food, Buddhist symbols, Japanese language, Buddhist holidays, and Buddhist teachings. Okay, we'll start with Buddhist symbols for $100. A teaching tool for Reverend Okamoto. Bonsai Blimpos?
What is a golf club?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, that's incorrect. $400. Masterminds or Cool Dudes. A teaching tool for Reverend Okamoto. Mastermind or Cool Dudes?
What is
a brown paper bag?
That's correct for $100. Continue.
Yo, cool.
Buddhist holidays for 100.
The birthday of Shakyamuni Buddha.
What is HanaMatsuri?
Correct for 100. Next.
We'll take Buddhist holidays for 200.
The day Saint Shinran died on which we express thankfulness to him.
What is Honko?
Correct for $200. Next.
You're cool.
Next.
Buddhist holidays for 300.
A Buddhist holiday that's a memorial service to show gratitude to our ancestors.
What is Nirvana Day?
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. For $300, masterminds or bonsai blimpas. A Buddhist holiday. Okay. Masterminds?
What is a bond?
That's correct. Okay. And that brings us up to $300 for masterminds, $400 for cool dudes, and bonsai blimpas, you don't have anything. Except for your cooler. Okay. What would you like next?
See, Buddhist teachings for 100.
Buddha's birthplace in India. Masterminds?
What is Lubini's garden?
Correct. Next.
Buddhist teachings for 200.
Father of Siddhartha Gautama. Go ahead.
Who is King Suddhodana?
That's correct. Go ahead.
Buddhist symbols for 200.
Okay. Beads encircling the hands during Gasho to symbolize oneness.
What is Ojuzu?
That's correct for $200. Continue.
Buddhist symbols? Please, for 300.
A Buddhist symbol that reminds us to listen to Amida's teachings.
No. Anna, who's my mother?
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Bonsai, blimpas, and cool dudes. For $300, a Buddhist symbol that reminds us to listen to Amida's teachings. Bonsai blimpas?
Who is Reverend Cujo?
No, that's incorrect. Cool dudes, do you have an answer?
What is the gong?
That's correct. Let's go on.
You're cool.
Buddhist holidays for 400.
Service is held during spring and fall when the lengths of day and night are equal.
What is Ohigan?
Correct.
Japanese language for 100.
A Japanese word for teacher.
What is sensei?
Correct.
You're cool.
What category would you like next?
Japanese language for 200.
Japanese for thank you very much.
What is arigato gozaimasu?
That's correct.
You're cool.
We'll take Japanese language for 300.
Japanese for good morning.
What is Ohayo gozaimasu?
That's correct.
You're cool.
Japanese language for 400.
Japanese for chopsticks.
What is ochawan?
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Blimpos and Masterminds for $400. Japanese for chopsticks. Bonsai Blimpos?
What is a hashi?
That's correct. And the bonsai... And the Bonsai Blimpos jump into the game. They have $400, Cool Dudes with $1,700, and Masterminds with $800. What would you like next?
Buddha symbols for 400, please.
Why didn't you pick Japanese food?
The Buddhist symbol for the Eightfold Noble Path.
Oh, I know this one. It's something round or something.
I know. What is a donut?
No, that's incorrect. Masterminds or Cool Dudes. The Buddhist symbol for the Eightfold Noble Path. Masterminds?
What is the Dharma wheel?
That's correct. Keep going.
Buddhist teachings for 300.
Founder of Jodo Shinsu Buddhism.
Who is Shinran Choni?
That's correct.
Continue with Buddhist teachings.
The path to follow to attain enlightenment.
What is the Noble Eightfold Path?
Correct.
Japanese foods for 100.
Okay. Japanese cooked rice.
I know. What is Uncle Ben's?
No, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Bonsai Blimpos, you're still not out of the game yet. Masterminds, you could still catch up. So $400, Japanese cooked rice. Bonsai Blimpos?
What is Gohan?
Correct.
Yeah. All right. We finally got the Japanese food.
More food for 200.
Hand-shaped ovals of vinegared rice topped with garnish.
What is sushi?
That's correct.
More food for 300.
Okay, Japanese for octopus.
Oh, I know this one. It's something like a burrito or something. Oh,
I know. What is a taco?
yeah.
That's correct. Keep going.
What else but more food for 400?
Japanese rice crackers.
Oh, yummy. What is seme?
That's correct.
Japanese food for 500.
Okay, grilled fish.
Oh.
What is yakizakana?
That's correct. That brings us up to Masterminds with $1,900, Cool Dudes with $1,700, and Bonsai Blimpos with an amazing comeback and has $1,900. Okay, Blimpos, with one more correct response, you could be today's big winner. What category, please?
Japanese food for 600.
Okay. For the win, rice flour cake stuffed with sweet bean paste.
Oh, what is manju?
That's correct. There you have it. Today's winners are the Bonsai Blimpos. And your prize is in whatever is in my brown paper bag. And I have Slim Fast.
Feels great and lose weight.
You did? Okay. We're out of time, but thank you for joining us in today's show of Japanese Jeopardy!
Thank you, Eric. Next we'll have a trumpet solo by Keith Kanemoto. He will be playing a song called Vega. Thank you, Keith. Our last musical number will be by Julie Wood. She will be accompanied by her mother, Karen Wood. They will play Sakura. Thank you. Our last number will be 2 karate katas. The katas will be done by Scott Kanemoto, Dean Hogsett, Ryan, and Chad Casuno. Sensei Tanabe will lead them. We really appreciate Sensei Tanabe coming this evening.
Let's go. Right. Yoi. Knife punch.
Knife punch.
Uch. Knee. Some. Shoot. Go. Look. Uch. Uch. Go. Uch. Hey. Uch. Hey. Some. Uch. Hey. Some. Shoot. Go. Look. Uch. 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 Hey. Some. Shoot. Go. Uch. Hey. Some. Uch. Hey. Some. Shoot. Go. Yummy. Now then. Gentle. That's good. Yoi. Gentle.
Jinju.
Ush. Hey. Some. Shoot. Go. Ush. 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 Go. Ush. Hey. Some. Shoot. Go. Look. Ush. Ush. Go. Go. Ush. Hey. Some. Shoot. Go. Look. Ush. Ush. Go. Go. Ush. Hey. Yummy. Now then. That's good. Hey.
Thank you. This concludes our HanaMatsuri program.
There have been many changes in the last 75 years. What does the future hold? More changes. There is an old Japanese saying, life is a chain of uncertainties, and all things are subject to change. This video, which commemorates the 75th anniversary of the Tri-State Buddhist temples, is dedicated to the memory of the Issei men and women who practiced Jodo Shinshu with steadfast shinjin and perseverance. It is through their efforts that our temples have become a reality, and the Buddhist way of life has been passed on to future generations.